got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. It's Wardrobe Wednesday, baby. You know what that means? Everybody showed up and showed out. We got the finest threads on set today. We got the one and only Tortoise sitting solo. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Wait, what is wrong with this?
Nothing. Looks great. He's got the Black Friday special.
Black and gold.
That's right.
And I mean,
He does have the Steelers socks on. I can see him from here.
Yeah, see that? Look at that.
Yeah, he did do a good job.
Yeah. I mean, I got a match, right?
That's right. All right, let's cut to Landon, who came out killing it. Right. Landon's bit. Landon's not here.
No.
Do you think Landon sent a picture in of how he dressed to go to the... No. Fuck no.
No.
Just killing the bit.
He's taking a page out of Connie's book.
Killing the bit. Speaking of killing the bit, look at... I'm going to say Conrad. Look at Guapo over there with the cutoff smashing pumpkins.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. I mean, boys, if we didn't fucking...
I got to tell you,
in today.
I got to tell you, you look good. But it's only by comparison.
Right. Right. You know, I thought to myself, like, holidays, you know, we put in the Thanksgiving edition, come with a nice oversized sweater.
Are those upside down hearts on your...
No, I think they're buffaloes.
Oh, they're buffaloes.
We can check it out as we get to the actual Wardrobe Wednesday. Why don't you start us off, Guapo? You do such a fantastic job of...
You know, because I always start us off, I thought today we would have the Tortoise start us off. Tort, what do you call this look?
I call this company man. Right? And
Okay.
This is me.
This is the Alpha Rec.
Yes, I'm here to
Alpha
let
Rec
everybody
chic.
know that, you know, S4Y is having a big sale, Black Friday sale. So, you know, you can we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
but
we probably should have went with you last.
Yeah,
to,
sure. Right.
Segue into the sale.
Yeah, probably.
Here we
but
are,
you know
then.
what? I mean, look at this. Look at this hoodie. It's great. I mean, you can go to academy.s4y.io, get yourself one yourself. And I mean, I got them rocking the black Old Navy designer joggers, if you will.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
the designer Old Navy
Yeah.
joggers.
I mean, somebody designed them.
Yeah. It's all tied in.
That's facts.
All right, boys, if I may. I call this the 93 Wapo Grunge.
Ooh, I like that a
so
lot.
What we see here is it's like the Letterman
Okay.
jacket, but it's a hoodie style. So a little bit of cotton, a little bit of jean. And that is an actual vintage Melancholy Smashing Pumpkins shirt. You can find that on eBay right now.
You forgot about the Infinite Sadness.
$100. That shirt is 20 years old. We got the diesel jeans.
No way, it's older than 20 years. It's got to be.
Way older.
Way
yeah,
older.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
30.
30. Pushing 30. Definitely 25 at least.
At least,
You guys are killing my bit here. And,
Sorry.
and I'm rocking the Ruka hat, also with the Ruka jacket. So
All right.
hard to compete with. to be quite
I'm
honest.
not going to lie, Guapo.
It's a good look.
I'm a little annoyed.
Why?
Because I know you forgot it was Wardrobe Wednesday.
But he just
and
always figures it out.
This actually comes together really well.
I don't know how he does it.
Like that,
Every time.
That truly was a well put together outfit for somebody who totally forgot that today was Wardrobe Wednesday.
Right.
He definitely grabbed the first balled up fucking shirt that he had on the ground.
I don't understand how he just always comes up with, like, do you just have clothes laying around here? Do you just have like a whole, like, half your wardrobe just hanging out?
Last week
it doesn't make sense.
Last week was thanks to Christian.
Wait, what?
Shin left a bunch of clothes here.
Yeah, I have a couple of his sweaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thanks,
So,
Chin.
Thanks, Jen.
Doing his part. That's good.
But yeah,
That's good.
I like it. What do you think, Tort? You okay with it?
I think you look great. I think I look great. I mean, you know, all that's left is, the man
The one,
himself who really tried. Maybe tried a little too hard.
I did
but
not try too hard. This is a Thanksgiving dinner attire. Okay.
There goes that shot right off.
Cuts my fucking head off.
I chopped on your head.
What
I
are
didn't
you-
mean to do it.
How did that even happen?
That's
Sorry,
amazing.
here we
There
go.
he is.
That's exactly how I feel.
Oh man, this couldn't go any
You
better.
took a picture of me mid-chew.
Yeah.
I had a fucking candy in my mouth.
Okay, that looks like a creep right there.
All right, look, this is a well put together outfit. We have the oversized sweater. I had many options. I had a much bigger sweater that I really wanted to wear, but the color scheme didn't work out too well. We got the burnt orange pants to match. Might be a little bit of a stretch given the red upside down buffaloes, but
You know what doesn't have any stretch are those pants. My goodness.
I got thick thighs, bro.
right,
Thick thighs save lives. I don't really know. I'm not going to apologize for it, you know. We have the overcoat, which I'm a big fan of. Don't get to wear often enough. Shoes
now, I don't
match
know if
everything.
This is on purpose or not, but your shoelaces.
It wasn't an accident, Guap.
I'm jumping in with the pants here. I like
And
it.
you notice that break? It's a perfect break on the shoes. You know, I don't fuck around like Landon.
Yeah, single break.
Yeah, I don't fuck around and let it fucking spill over my shoes like a sloppy 25-year-old mess.
And what exactly are these?
I think these are buffalo, bison, if you will.
Okay, bison.
Yeah, you know, out roaming the plains.
Yeah.
It's what I plan to have for Thanksgiving dinner.
Bison burger.
That's right.
Man.
Little.
I got to tell you, Burke, I do like the coat. The coat is nice. I see you took it off. It's a little warm in here. Yeah.
You can't just wear the coat the whole time.
You know, you're going to have the heavy lift in here with this me and you only on the podcast here. So I understand taking the jacket off. You're going to get real hot.
Like I could ever get a word in edgewise when you're you're on one.
Right, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Let's talk finance. So you know the bit remains in spite of the fact that no one else is participating. We're so Guapo, god damn it, man. God damn it. You're winning the poll already.
Of course he's gonna crush the poll.
Yeah.
I told you have no shot, Burke.
Well,
you might come in last place.
Look, the chat has
do your thing, chat.
The chat has a good sense of humor. Okay,
sure, that's what it is.
They're here for
whatever you gotta tell yourself.
Give me the win. He can
he can never.
Hey, Waffle,
never.
It was effortless. You just reek of style, sir.
Right?
You
yeah.
could have just said that.
The fact that he didn't try and he looked that good is a testament to him and his style.
You disgust me.
He just has style. Some people just have it. Some people don't have to try.
Yeah, just oozes drip.
It's a good thing that chat can't see my jeans. These are like the whole.
Oh my god!
He's a giant.
You have to post that. That is absolutely. He has two fucking giant rips in his crotch, one for each ball to fall out of.
Crotch rips are in.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
this is absolutely unbearable.
Man, I gotta tell you, look how good. Look, this whole outfit just goes with the background. The Steelers football over here.
Sell a little harder.
Honestly, I mean, like, I don't think you should even take the shot off of me the whole time.
Yeah,
Let's just keep it on me.
Keep selling. You're doing a fucking great job.
I look great.
Well, you did tease something that's worth mentioning. We do have a big sale coming up for Black Friday. We're gonna go a little early this year since we have no Thanksgiving show tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in signing up for S4Y.io, you can see that we're giving 3 months for the price of 2. Use code Friday24 at sign up, and you will save whatever the equivalent is to make it $100 for 3 months instead of for 2. Or sorry,
33% off each month.
Yeah, so $100 for 3 months instead of for just 2. And you're gonna get a great catalog of content. You know, click the next link. Actually, we just also launched this path to excellence, if you will. So we have fully laid out paths of what content to watch depending on where you feel like you fall or what it is that you're interested in. We have a solver blueprint. If you're interested in live cash mastery, here's the lineup of content to watch. You can scroll through that. Tournament fundamentals. And finally, I think there's one more, right? Yeah, tournament crusher. So that's basically like beginning tournament strategy versus elite tournament strategy.
And if you really want to get in the mix,
there you go.
Yeah.
And then the super elite tournament strategy. That's the ICM
lots of
experts.
stuff here.
Yeah, we have a mental game model that's led mostly by Jason Su.
Master the Flop helped me a ton, by the way.
Big fan of a lot of this stuff that was specifically geared towards c-betting.
I love that diagnosing the flop.
That's
two-card confidence.
So good.
Two-card confidence is fantastic. You can search 3-bets, deep theory, 3-street thinker, all the stuff that you want answers to. It's all outlined there for you in the new paths.
And this sale is good through Cyber Monday, just to let everybody know.
Right. So you have just shy of a week, 6 days.
Monday.
5 days, something like
Get
that.
it in there before Monday. Just do it now, just to make sure you don't miss it.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
On top of that, Brocus's new course has just dropped. It's called How to Bluff. I think we have a teaser for that one.
You do? Give me 1 second.
All right, yeah, give the guy 1 second. You know, he's out there thinking about his next one.
I want to offer you a way of thinking about bluffing that will help you make better decisions in any scenario that you encounter. First, you want to think about how many bluffs do I want in this situation? If I am bluffing, what are my targets? Only then do you want to think about how good is this hand for bluffing, these 2 cards. Then you have to make a plan for how you're going to bluff. Is this going to be a multi-street bluff? Is it one and done? Which turn cards are going to be good for you to barrel? You want to ask yourself these questions.
We're just having a little laugh about the way the poll is going so far.
Yeah, screw you guys.
Yeah. We love you. I love you, Tortoise Army.
You see who you're voting for?
Hey, Junior. The Tortoise. I'm just so happy.
Super pumped for this Brocus course. It's something that we talk about a lot at the Academy, where the framework through which most people learn this game is just strictly through value down. So it's like top-down learning. This kind of framework for how to build out from bottom up, where you learn how to play the worst hands in your range and how to formulate a proper bluffing strategy over 1 street, 2 street, 3 streets. It's a really critical aspect to cash games specifically, but also just a better understanding theory when you begin to start thinking about all components of your range. And then, you know, the evolution off of this is how your hand classes will transition through the ranking orders as turns and rivers change the current board texture. But really pumped to watch this Brocus course. If you guys are interested in that, again, hashtag Solve4Y or S4Y in the chat, or you can just head to solve4y.io. Don't forget to use code Friday24 for 33% off the next 3 months. All right. Now that that's out of the way, we got some stuff to talk about today. So we got a little bit of poker. We got a little bit of social media. We got a little bit of in the muck. But we're going to start off with a man who just wants to see the world burn, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe that's not the right way of framing it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're segueing right now.
the Jeffy tweet.
Okay.
I sat on this because we were supposed to have Brocus on today, but he had a prior engagement. So I kind of wanted to open this discussion up to him and have a bigger conversation about the economics around all this stuff. But I do think it's like worth bringing up because I find this to be an incredibly common, I guess, like thread when it comes to how wealth is viewed if you aren't said wealthy person. So I guess about a week ago, maybe, let's see, this was November 23rd. What the hell's today? 28th, 27th?
27.
Okay, so 4 days ago, Jeffy tweeted out, serious question. If it was possible to take 2/3 of this and put it towards healthcare. Oh, wrong tweet.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I got you. Do you need it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sent. There you go. He said, so there was a tweet that said Elon Musk's net worth has hit an all-time high of $347.8 billion yesterday. And he said, serious question, if it was possible to take 2/3 of this and put it towards healthcare, education, and housing in this country, what exactly would be the downside to that? Would everybody suddenly lose drive and motivation to innovate? He would still have over 100 billion LOL. And this got over 1 million views. Like,
million views?
1 million views.
Wow, Jeffy.
1,700 comments, 3,600 likes, 382 retweets.
That sounds like a lot.
And of the retweets, there was like, you know, dozens upon dozens upon dozens of quote tweets. Mm-hmm. So this is interesting from 2 fronts.
I mean, I have some thoughts.
Of course. I'll ask you those in a moment. But what I want to look at this at is 2 things, right? So for one, the genuine question, like assuming that he's not shit posting here, the actual question that he's posing, and why is this not the way of the world? Like, why are we not just redistributing Elon's wealth? And then the second lens is just more so how X operates. Because I retweeted this days later, and I said, if ever there was a doubt that the algorithm prioritizes shit posting, here's a perfect example of how quickly it raises shit posting to the top. Because I don't know if Jaffe's being serious here.
I think he is. I think he's being serious.
I hope he's not.
I think he is.
But go on. Let's hear your thoughts.
So, I mean, you know, I am one who thinks that, you know, that there's a lot of wealth and inequality in this country and in the world. And there is, right? That the top 1% have way more than like the bottom 50, you know? So like, I do think maybe that is a problem. And I was in the Bernie camp and you know, we need to tax the rich more and we need to figure out a way to you know, close the gap. You know, but you start to think about a little bit more like the whole Elon situation, right? It's very easy to say he has $300 billion. He has $300 billion, and why can't we just take that money and, you know, just disperse it and have healthcare and all these things, which would be nice. But like, if you actually dive into the details, it's not like he has $300 million sitting in the bank. $300 billion. Sorry, I sound like Biden now. Billion, trillion, gazillion. It's not like he has $300 billion in the bank. Right. The reason he has that much, or his net worth is that much, is because of the stock that he owns and the stock skyrocketing, or, you know, so it's like you'll hear something and they'll say, you know, Elon Musk made $40 billion yesterday. And it's like, well, he didn't make $40 billion yesterday, right? He owns a certain percentage of stock in Tesla and his other companies. And a bunch of people went out and bought that stock, and the price of the stock rose, right? So now his net worth is that, but it's just paper worth. It's not like he's liquid and you can go take that money from him and then use it to solve problems in the world. I wish it was that simple, but it actually isn't.
I don't think Jaffe's actually I don't think he's being legit.
I mean, maybe he's not. I don't know.
I wish I was a little more informed on this.
I thought he was kind of rage baiting.
I think that might have been a little bit of that. But as far as like actually doing something like that seems kind of crazy to me. Like, God forbid that somehow I had worked incredibly hard to build this company from scratch. Now I've made all this money only to have it be taken away for what reason? That makes no sense to me. Yeah.
Okay. So like that's a more genuine way of going about it. It's like, first of all your points are very valid, Brian. He clearly doesn't have $300 billion.
Right.
And that just seems so tone deaf to imply that he ever does.
Right.
Like, it's all paper money. It's all unrealized gains.
He couldn't even liquidate it if he wanted to. If he tried to sell all of his stock, the stock would plummet. And by the time he sold the last of his stock, it would be worth, you know, like a fraction of what it is now.
Right. So it's like when people say this, and this is why I thought it was a good conversation to have, because I think it's a very common narrative that is spread amongst the lower to middle class.
I used to think like this, like, you know, and I understand how one can be, you know, think this is exactly how it is. I mean, this is what if you're in certain circles, this is how they're going to portray it.
Right. So it's all paper money. He doesn't actually possess any of it, or not any of it, but he doesn't possess 300 billion of it. But more to Guapo's point, which I think is like worth examining, at least on some level, of like, well, what if in theory he did just have 300 billion? Like, it's so frustrating because it's like people will respond. It's like, that's more money that he could spend in 10 lifetimes.
Right.
Well, like, he's not spending it.
He's investing.
That's not the point.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, the reason why it's so important for the Buffetts and the Musks and the Bezos of the world and the Gates and whatnot, the reason why they play such a critical role in our ecosystem and our economy is because they're able to reinvest that in ways that move society forward. And on a very small scale, it's like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form comparing myself, but like, I understand this in a small scale sense of like starting a business and whatnot. Like, my quote unquote paper worth is exponentially greater than the money that I have access to liquid wise, right? And a lot of the paper worth could all very quickly go to zero. It's invested in assets like Bitcoin or my house.
Right.
It's invested in this company. It's invested in, other like lower risk type of stuff. But nevertheless, Bitcoin could crash. The housing market could crash. The doors to Solve for Why could close tomorrow. That collectively would wipe out 66, 70% of my net worth in an instant, which means that like I actually have access liquidity wise to like 30% of what I'm worth on paper. Right. And that's just me, a lowly gambler who has done okay for himself in the world.
Right.
When you like factor this out to guys like, Musk, Bezos, Mark Cuban, like the wealthiest men in the world, they're so diversified in where they're investing this capital or these resources, right? Like Cuban probably has hundreds, if not thousands, of investments in businesses and startups and tech and bio.
A lot of small businesses, right? These small businesses would have never gotten off the ground if he wasn't there to invest in them and give them a little capital to get going.
Right. So like the narrative that these guys are just like Scrooge McDucking it and just have like a vault of coins that they dive through, as opposed to actually like what's actually happening is in some regard wealth redistribution, right? Like maybe we don't see it on a grandiose scale where it's like a poor person is doing better because Elon Musk exists.
Well, in an example of Mark Cuban, they really are because of the I forget what
the prescription act.
I forget what the name of the company is.
MedX, I think, or something like that.
Right, but he's found a way to essentially cut out the middleman when it comes to pharmaceuticals and the pharmacies, and so like. So you're able to get prescription drugs for way cheaper than you would
prescription RX, I think is what it's called. But yeah.
So like, I mean that's helping people out a ton.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's one good thing he did. You take a look at like someone like Elon Musk who's innovating and revolutionizing the car industry. And with Tesla, and now there's self-driving cars, and like if it actually comes to fruition, like it looks like it's going to, you're gonna have self-driving cars all over the country and the world, which are so much safer than human drivers. And you're talking about like tens of thousands of lives probably being saved per year. Not to mention the people being in accidents, people like, injuries and lives being disrupted, like all that's going to change if this could actually happen.
I have the opposite reaction to that. Like I think of all the delivery drivers, the Uber drivers, the truck drivers. Like I think we're heading in that direction. I think that's going to be a loss of a lot of jobs.
It will, but that's the cost of innovation, right? Like there's always going to be a bit of a recession or decline prior to an advancement. So it's like it just creates a new problem, but it doesn't. I don't think it encourages the lack of innovation, right? Like I don't think we do better by becoming a second world nation or something along those lines by staving off this innovation.
Right.
Like would it be a terrible thing if surgeons no longer existed?
And just have computers do the surgeries.
Yeah. So, we lose a few thousand people making 6 or 7 figures a year. They lose their job and well-being, but we have like perfect surgeries.
Right.
Like that seems like a cost society is very much worth paying.
Right.
And the same happens at the...
It's not just that surgeon, though. I mean, like, you understand that there's going to be surgical techs, there's going to be equipment, there's going to be stuff that's... I mean, it trickles down to a lot of other occupations.
Of course. But is the inefficiency worth the like employment rate or whatever?
Yeah, with innovation comes job growth as well.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Right,
they'll do something else.
There might be certain people that lose their jobs, but then there'll also be another certain people that there'll be more opportunity in a different sector.
Right. So going back to the original question that like Wapo had of like, well, what if he did just have 300 billion laying around? Like, why not? Or like, he was kind of opposed to having that redistributed, but from Jaffe's point of view, like, why not redistribute it? what's the difference between 100 billion in cash versus 300 billion? You can't spend it all anyway.
Because it's his fucking money.
Yeah, fine, but like at some point there is diminishing returns, right? If it was all just liquid, if it was all just straight up cash,
Right.
What's the difference between a billion and a trillion, or 100 billion and a trillion?
Perhaps there isn't, but I'm still just going back to like, he earned this money. Why are we taking this from him?
Well, I think that
Because earned is subjective.
yeah. It's funny because I agree with you, but like
Right.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate
Yeah.
because I think the argument doesn't really stand on its own 2 feet necessarily. Like earned is still very much a part of survivorship bias. It's not that Elon Musk isn't the most brilliant man maybe to ever live. It's not that he's not the most innovative.
Let's say next week I win the lotto and I have $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's my fucking $1 billion. Like, I don't want anybody reaching into my pocket taking.
Well, the
my
government's
money.
going to take.
I'm the
They're
one
going
that
to
went
take their
and bought my lotto
taxes,
ticket.
right?
Like, I got lucky. It is what it is. I'm not saying that like I'm being stingy or that I wouldn't look out for my fellow man. If anybody knows me,
Right.
I mean, I'm not that guy, but I still don't think that makes it okay for us to put our hands in someone else's pockets.
Well, you
Like,
have to understand also that like how did he earn the money? Like, you know, all the things that like allowed him to reach that wealth. It could be something as simple as, well, the roads that he drove on or that his employees are, you know, were financed by the American people, right? So like certain public sectors helped him get to where he is. So then that should be a reason to give back.
I think
he's paying taxes, right?
Well, that's another issue, right? I mean, there are certain corporations that are, you know,
you would pay more in the lottery than he might with his company.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
like Amazon's never paid
he,
tax.
he had to
my
liquidate,
knowledge.
I think, some stock, right? And so then, which in turn made him, I think he paid the most amount of tax out of any individual ever in the history of the United States last year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is it does that mean it's enough? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. That's another argument. And, you know, also is there's like the corporations, there's so many, you know, corporations who hired the best tax lawyers to figure out every little loophole to get around paying, you know, their fair share of taxes. That is an issue, right? We do know that these companies don't do everything they can.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. It's also like the tax code and everything else is like incredibly
broken.
inefficient.
Right, of course.
So it's the big thing is like you're viewing it as like they're just reaching in your pocket, but like
I mean, how is it different than what I'm explaining? How I don't understand.
well, because we're talking in a hypothetical, so we haven't even outlined like how the money is being redistributed or anything like that. But the general takeaway would be like if you believe the way Jaffe believes that nobody deserves having 300 billion and redistributing that money is important to the American public as well as like maybe the worldwide society, the question then becomes like, how do you redistribute it? Is it via tax where they just reach in your pocket and it goes to a government entity, or is it through incentives, which I think is more so how things already operate, where you're heavily incentivized to reinvest that money? If you're heavily incentivized to not just sit on cash and to reinvest it either in government bonds or innovation or tech or startup, whatever the case may be, right? Like, and this can all be incentivized through the tax code or a myriad of other ways. That money is kind of being put to use or redistributed in some sort of way. The bigger point that I was trying to make, if he just was sitting on 300 billion in cash and today we decided like, well, 100 billion is the cap that you're allowed to have. So we're taking 200 billion and we're just redistributing it to the American people. If you were to put that towards the things that Will suggest, like education, housing, Medicare or medical or whatever,
Healthcare,
it would last for a day. I think I saw something in that thread where if you took the entirety of Elon Musk's net worth and gave it to the federal government, it would operate for like 6 days. It's like it's $1 trillion.
I don't know about that, but you know. That sounds a little off, but
maybe. But the point is that the American budget is in the trillions.
I mean, it is right. It's so a few $1 trillion. So that's like 10%. So yeah, maybe it would last like a month.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like it's it's just it's just going to get burned the way a lot of the other excess money gets. It doesn't do what you think it does. Is the whole point.
Right.
Like $300 billion is not going to improve the healthcare system the way that I think normal people believe it would, because $300 billion's a ungodly amount of money. But our government is like wasting or spending or whatever the case may be multiples of this regularly.
Right.
The defense budget is multiples more than this, you know. The medical budget, I remember he listed medical, education, and I think housing. And medical for sure was magnitudes more than 300 billion or 200 billion, whatever. And I think
we spend the most amount on medical out of any country.
Right.
Sure, by far.
And then I think
820 billion every year.
Yeah, there you go. So
military budget.
The military budget, yeah. And that just goes up every year.
Right. So that's 4x what we're suggesting taking from Elon here. And I think medical was like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 300 or 400 billion per year. What were the other two? I said education and housing. Right. So education, I think, was like $100 billion budget, but that's just at the federal level. There's also the state level that has a budget. Go ahead.
Is that right? 4.5 trillion on healthcare.
Oh, right.
4.5 trillion on healthcare. That sounds right.
I was way off.
Yeah, that's not what the government spends.
Oh, okay.
That's just what
overall
what is spent on healthcare in this country per year.
Right.
Which is, you know.
But if you had to guess, like private versus public, it's probably like heavily.
Yeah, I mean, you can
weighted.
look and see what's allocated to Medicare and Medicaid, and that's probably you know,
a big bulk.
Close to what the military budget is. I would assume it's probably anywhere between 500 billion to $1 trillion.
Right.
Yeah,
but
848 for Medicare.
Right.
Yeah, but that's just people who qualify for free healthcare.
Correct. That's Medicare for people who are over 65, I think. And then there's Medicaid who people
for welfare.
Right.
But that's when people are talking about allocating money to healthcare, they're talking about reducing the cost for the average individual. Right. So that's not what's happening
or
within that budget.
Or having like a Medicare for all system.
Correct. Which now you are talking that 4.5 trillion.
Right.
So you are looking at the bigger piece of the pie. And now it's like it's a mere raindrop amongst a sea of water here whenever we're talking about like what 200 billion.
We're just talking about one person, right? If you take all the billionaires and all the corporations and all, you know, then it starts to become a meaningful number.
Yeah, perhaps, but only like once. That's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like
take it all, spend it in 1 year, and then what do you do the next year? There's no more billionaires to take money.
Exactly, and then you become impoverished.
Right.
So now there's no innovation. Now there's no. So
that's what I mean. You take that money away from Elon, and now he shuts down the self-driving program, and all of a sudden now we don't have a situation where we maybe are saving hundreds of or tens of thousands of lives. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that like there's plenty of flaws to our system, but I don't think.
How are we ever going to get to Mars?
I don't think money allocating to individuals is necessarily the flaw. I will say though that there is at least a notion that if all that money is being pooled in a very small collective, then there really isn't enough pie left for everybody else, because there's a finite amount of dollars able to be earned. And I don't know how to necessarily deal with that, because my instincts fall similarly to Will's, like you see in any ecosystem, even in poker. It's like you want some of the top money to be redistributed, and the notion of redistribution of wealth does seem like an incredibly important one. But I think it happens at the corporate level, not at the individual level, right? If it happens at the corporate level, that kind of levels off a little bit of the individual aspects of it, I think. But there's the things like I can't remember how many years it was that Amazon never paid corporate tax,
right?
Or it's a trillion dollar company,
right? But I think at the time they weren't. They were like a break even company, weren't they? For for years they were a break even company, because I think they were like reinvesting or something like that, and then became a $1 trillion company. But which also, like, if you look at like their, what they pay in taxes in terms of percentage, it's like less than like what a teacher pays.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that is a problem where, you have, I mean, it's a whole nother conversation, but you can talk about the corruption in the country and the ultra rich are influencing politicians with money and being able to buy politicians and then having them, write the laws that they want, particularly tax law. Right. So so they're able to keep a bigger share of maybe what should be distributed to the American people. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to me because I think that on the surface, Will's argument seems very bad faith, and it felt like shit posting to me. And I made the mistake of replying, and I had hundreds and hundreds of comments, not directed at me, but directed at Will.
What was your reply? Did you say?
It was very easy. It was very simple. It was just like what you said. It was number one, he's not liquid.
Right.
Number two, here, obvious issues is most of this is illiquid. Number two, 200 billion wouldn't accomplish a fraction of what you think that you would want it to accomplish with any of these social programs. And, maybe that's not necessarily true at like the local level if you were to
$200 billion can go a long way if you're talking local.
Yeah, right. But then it just becomes like, okay, well,
who gets it?
Who gets the lottery
do you want him to just like make Texas the greatest place on earth to be and then everywhere else just fucking sucks by comparison? Sure, I mean, if he wants to go that route, like great, good for him. But it's a weird thing because the underscore to what he's saying is basically like, the American dream doesn't die if, as you get richer, your ability to continually earn gets tampered or dampened rather by tax. And that I do kind of agree with, right? Like you see these guys that are able to collect generational wealth. Every million, every 10 million, every 100 million thereafter becomes easier and easier than the previous level. Every 10% gain in their net worth becomes easier to accrue than the prior 10%.
Yeah.
So
that's most of the people that are ultra rich like that. They're not sitting on cash. They're sitting on assets.
For sure.
It's all in assets. It's all illiquid, like you said.
Yeah. I think it becomes interesting of like what happens to his estate when he passes. Like that's what's most interesting
like 30
to me.
Kids, so
no, but like how generational wealth transitions after each passing, I think is more interesting to me than trying to just like separate a person who's currently alive and innovating from his wealth, because you can't guarantee that his lineage is going to do as well by the money, and they really didn't do anything other than exist.
Well, that's why like state tax or estate tax is
but there's a lot of ways around that.
Of course, a lot of loopholes, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I find this conversation to be interesting. I wish Barbara was able to be involved because I know he's a lot sharper.
I'm sure
on this
he
type
would
of stuff.
definitely give pretty good insight.
Right. But while we're on the subject of redistribution of wealth, let's talk about this hand that Rob Yong played on HCL last night. So they're streaming 2 streams a day, one from LA, one from Cyprus, as we kind of mentioned. And this insane hand happened in a near 200K pot where Rob ultimately ends up calling it all in on the turn. We're going to pick it up on the turn action after Feldman is jammed for like 50K. And Rob decides to call with his queen jack.
Less likely that
How much?
Biden has some kind of draw.
I think you've got like king jack of hearts. Something like that.
You have the jack of hearts in your hand.
Type of hand.
Okay, that type of hand. But having the jack of hearts in your hand makes it really hard for him to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm dead.
One time, Rob needs a queen. $192,000 pot. And seems like whatever the river was did not help Rob.
You get a queen. Of course you can win. You get a queen. Of course.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
So she hasn't dealt the river yet. Rob mucked his hand, but then retrieved it once he realized he did have outs.
That is like Jack 9 or something.
Good night, guys.
Once. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this for sure.
I'm so sorry, bro. I'm really.
Guys, listen. I muck my cards.
No, you're good.
No, I mucked.
No, you're good. Rob, stop.
No, I mucked.
Rob, you're good.
No, I wouldn't accept the money. I mucked.
It's okay. Just run it anyway. It's fine.
You can run it, but I mucked.
Just run the card. Run the card. Just run the river.
Well, hopefully it's not relevant.
Especially on a stream. Especially on a stream, I don't care. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my.
Is it a queen?
What the fuck? I mean, you don't have to do
No, I insist. I mucked.
Oh my god.
It is a queen. Oh, wow.
Or keep the 50.
Rob gets there.
I mucked, guys. I mucked. It's poker.
He
It's the
did
rules,
muck his
right?
cards.
Fuck. How is that possible? What the fuck?
When a guy mucks like that, he mucks, right?
I know, but you really don't have to do that. It's okay. Like it's a stream. I don't mind. Like
It doesn't matter if it's a stream or not.
okay.
I mucked, and then I showed the cards because I said I was drawing dead, and obviously I wasn't drawing dead.
Oh, this is awkward.
Wow.
So awkward. It's a huge pot too. Look at that one. 192.
Don't feel bad.
Brian's gonna feel weird about that.
We are on YouTube for sure. We are somewhere, and it's a clip that is viral.
Yes, stream poker is rigged.
Very viral.
Don't feel bad at all. I'm mucked.
Thumbs up.
No, I know.
When you muck in poker, you're dead, right?
Yeah, I just don't.
The only reason it's not dead is because it's a stream.
Right,
They have to do the river.
Right.
So it's impossible. You shouldn't feel bad at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
Both players are being complete gentlemen about this, but Rob is technically right.
Without question.
It's not class act at all. It's normal.
I appreciate it, but
You
yeah,
muck your hand, you're
I'm just like I don't.
Nice
I always
guys.
want to do the right
Nice
thing. I
hand.
don't care about
Crazy
rules.
hand.
I just want to do the right
Crazy
thing.
hand.
The crazy thing.
Crazy.
Queen hits.
Crazy. I can't believe I thought I was dead.
What a
My
wild
head's-
hand.
My head's mushed today, right?
I get it. I get your point.
Okay, so this is a really interesting thing that really only happens at high stakes,
Yeah.
to be quite frank. I've been in this spot many more times than I'd care to admit.
I assume not on Rob's end.
Never. Oh, once on Rob's end.
Oh, so
man,
you
I
fucked up
literally
once.
have 3 stories
Wow.
immediately that come to mind to talk about this. And I'll tell them all. I've probably told most of them in the past, so bear with me. But I first just want to comment like on the etiquette and what is like, I guess, expected to happen here. I don't think Ryan did anything wrong, first of all. And I'm sure that this pot means something, right? It's a 200K pot. Like,
Right.
I don't know how wealthy Ryan is, but like 200K is 200K. And at these stakes, I think they're playing 200, 400. Like that's substantial. You know, it's a big pot. I've been in this spot multiple times. I hesitate to say that like I would just under no circumstance keep this pot, but I may like let him bully me into keeping the pot. And that seems the route that Rob was going. Rob's dead wrong. His
Can I
hand
play devil's advocate real quick?
Yeah.
Does your decision change if it's against a professional player?
No, because
So if a pro would mucks his hand, and
a pro would never. He did not muck his hand. The hand is very retrievable.
Right.
There's no river out yet. Like for him to muck his hand, he would have to see the river and still allow his cards to go into the muck somehow.
Just because he tossed them forward face down does not make it
Right, it was an
doesn't mean
all
it's
in and a
mucking.
call.
Right.
Like there's no procedure in the world where the dealer will kill his hand and then put out the river.
Right.
They'll put out the river, and then if he so chooses to not retrieve his hand, they'll kill it. Like if this were a public game, the order of operations should be deal river. If he hasn't retrieved his hand yet, grab it and scoop it into the muck. But it's not muck the hand, put out the river. He has every right to throw his cards face down after paying the all-in, and then do with it as he wishes. He can show it or not show it.
so if you wanted to put a mega slow roll on someone, I guess that's a thing you could do then.
Absolutely. It's something I've done.
You've mucked your hand.
I've mucked my
face
hand
down.
forward, yeah. And then just like as the dealer reached, I've
You're like, oh, wait a second.
snagged it back. Just
Okay, so then by the rules, he didn't have a mucked hand.
He did not. He's dead wrong in what he's saying. He's basically saying that like if it were a public game or whatever, they wouldn't even deal the river. They would just scoop his cards and push Ryan in the pot. maybe you can surrender like that. I'm sure he could actually physically bury the hand in the muck if he wanted to. You know, he could like fling his cards into the muck. But like Sean McCormick replied to this and he said, a lot of talks about this hand. Here's the official ruling if a floor were called. Rob's hand is both retrievable and live. Additionally, it was tabled face up after the fact. Therefore, he would definitely win the pot.
Right.
That said, these games often follow unwritten rules or an honor system not always seen in open games. And the last part is what I want to focus on because this one's very easy. There was no questions about what happened. Everybody saw his hand. It wasn't like the Ivy hand at the main event final table where he had a club and didn't realize it and Muck face down. Right. And then like, oh, you know, check the tape.
Everybody knows Rob won the hand.
Correct.
And from what I saw in this video, Ryan scooped the pot and took the whole thing, right? Is that how the whole thing ended?
I mean, Ryan did offer to give him the pot first,
I mean,
I don't think Ryan did anything wrong.
No, of course not. And Rob was like adamant that he was refusing to take any money back.
Right. Rob kind of bullied him into keeping the money.
I'm very curious because like you said, I know that you've been in these situations. I was wondering how you would handle that situation.
I would have pushed him the chips personally.
The whole pot.
I would have just pushed him the pot
and take this pot.
And I would have tried to bully him into doing what's right.
Right.
And then if he re-bullied me, I probably would just have to accept. But I would always try to, at bare minimum, like let him get his money back somehow.
Yeah, I think Ryan said something about at least take the 50 back. That was the last bet on the
And like, look, at the end of the day, Rob is a gentleman. He goes above and beyond to ensure that his mistakes are punished more than most. I don't know if you guys recall, but there was the hand against Brewer in the short deck where he accidentally exposed his hand prior to the flop or whatever, where he had aces and Brewer had queens, I think. And they just, I don't recall the full details there, but I just remember he went above and beyond to do the right thing in that particular situation. So he's always going to err on the side of caution. But like what you don't want to have happen is a guy who is so on the up and up, let himself take advantage of himself. Yeah. And that's kind of what this feels like. And again, I'm not commenting on how Ryan handled it because I think he did everything well.
Yeah.
It's just that like Rob will actually exploit himself in this spot over and over and over again.
Yeah, because this is in reverse. He doesn't get.
It's like self-deprecating. You know, it's like, oh, I fucked up by making this terrible call. I don't deserve to win the pot. I don't deserve to hit this queen. So the times that I do, fuck. Now, I begged Rob to run it twice in a spot where it was going to break me.
Yeah,
and this motherfucker looked me in the face and said, I can't win twice. So it's not that he doesn't have that level of
like cutthroatness
in him. It's just that he is, he's an empathetic person, and like at the end of the day, he will do what he feels is ethically and morally right. Now, I have many stories along these lines. So first, I'll put myself in Ryan's shoes, which had happened. Well, yeah. Actually, first, let me put myself in Rob's shoes. So the first thing that happened, and I've definitely told this story many times, I was in a situation similar to Rob's, except I misread my hand. And basically the way it worked out was I bet twice with what I thought was an open-ender, and when I thought I got there to hit the ass end of the straight on a Jack-10 high board, I thought I had 7-8, where King-9 and Ace-King would have been a straight. So I thought I had 8-9. And I was betting on like Jack-10-6. I bet, and then the river was a queen, so I thought I hit the ass end, and JRB just let into me for 25K, which was like full pot. So I just call, and he tables a set of sixes, and I confidently roll over 7-8 high. And he's like, did you just call me with 8 high? I was like, not intentionally. Obviously thought I had 8-9, but here we are. Nice hand. And he throws me back the 25K chip.
Eesh.
And I was like, I can't accept this. And I throw it back to him. And we're in like the 2 and the 7. So this is happening like across the table, just the cranberry flying back and forth. And he throws it back to me again. And he goes, no, like we play with each other all the time. This is a gentleman's game. I understand it was a mistake. You're never calling me there with 8 high. And had you jammed, I would have folded. So like, we should work this out. Although that I think is a point for him to keep the 25K. Anyway, neither here nor there. He throws it back to me and I grab it, getting ready to throw it back again. And by the way, 25K meant a lot to me at the time. I go to throw it back again, and Bobby Baldwin grabs the chip out of my hand, and he goes, "When someone wants to give you a fucking gift, you accept it." And he puts it on my stack. And like,
I think he just wanted to play another hand.
yeah, 100%.
So he's like, let's get this over with.
100%. But it was
making
also
a point.
Yeah, it was making a point, and more importantly, he was the figurehead in that particular environment where his say goes.
Right. Yeah.
Rob is that guy in this game. And that's what's a little bit challenging here, because Ryan obviously is the game runner. So he's in a very compromising
Makes it
spot
even more awkward.
where it's like it's up to him to kind of go above and beyond to ensure that like no shenanigans ever happen.
Right.
And like, he mentioned it's a stream game, but like it being on stream really doesn't make a difference.
That's
it's
what
really
Rob
just
said. He said it doesn't matter.
yeah, this is just business in a private scenario where like this type of stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
And Rob is obviously being adamant that Ryan keeps the pot. They're going to go back and forth, whatever. So putting myself now in Ryan's shoes, I had a hand happen against Rick Solomon where I triple barrel bluffed with 4-3 suited, where I had missed a wheel draw. And sorry, I double barreled. And then I gave up river out of position. I checked. He checked back, and I just rolled over 4-3 high. And I don't even remember what his hand was, but it was I had the nut low. It was like ace deuce 6 blah blah blah, right?
He thought you had a straight.
I roll over 4-3 high. He thought I had a wheel. This is a $300,000 pot.
Yeah.
He just mucks, just throws it in the bin, and obviously everybody gets a good laugh out of it. And I just like don't know what to do. I'm frozen. I'm in a game I don't belong to be in to begin with. Like we're playing way too big. I don't know what to do.
Wait, so when he mucked his hand, it was face down.
Face down in the muck, buried, never to be seen again. Yeah. Surrendered the pot.
And you had the nut low.
Nut low. Could not beat a thing.
He had the winning hand.
I mean, at worst, he had a chop.
Right.
Okay. Right. So the pot gets pushed to me. I don't know what to do. And I text JRB and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel uncomfortable. And again, like, this is a scenario where it's like, I should, again, putting myself in Ryan's shoes, it's like, you have to, like, kind of speak up. But the difference was, the only difference, I guess, in this scenario is that, like, he mucked. So, like, he voluntarily actually physically gave up the pot, which is what Rob's argument is here. Rob is arguing, like,
I mucked.
Yeah,
but
I don't deserve the pot.
Didn't.
Very, very different, albeit, like, slightly nuanced. But if Rick could have retrieved his hand once he realized I had 4 high, he would have done so and tabled it,
Of course.
So I kind of text JRB. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't feel good about it. He goes, please give Rick half that pot back. And I was like, done. Fucking absolutely done.
Yeah.
Split the pot, give it back to him, and all parties were happy. Like that was just a very reasonable solution. And I think because it happened after the hand was over, as opposed to like negotiating once he mucks and I'm getting an undeserved pot, it didn't involve the table. It didn't involve anything. It was just me literally taking 150K off my stack and throwing it to him and, just kind of accepting it and moving on.
And he was like, oh, thanks. Like he probably felt appreciated because he knows he messed up.
Yeah.
He's giving half the pot back.
And I think, like, I don't know what ended up happening here, but I think that would have been a reasonable solution for Ryan also to just be like, listen, I really don't feel comfortable taking all of that pot. Here's 90,000.
And maybe, like, we don't know. Maybe
what about doing it off the table?
I don't think that matters, right? Like, I don't think Rob is more willing to accept in private.
Okay.
I think the opposite, actually.
Yeah, he probably is like, no, like.
Yeah, I think the opposite. I think, like, if he were going to accept the money, he would want people to know that he accepted the money,
right?
Rather than like shaking Ryan down in private,
or at least that it would be perceived that way, right?
Yeah,
right, yeah,
right, yeah. So yeah, it's just like it's a really brutal spot that gets quite tricky when you're playing in these, let's call it private games, because it really is a gentleman's agreement. And to Guapo's point, like, what do you do when it's another pro? That becomes a lot trickier because there is less of an understanding, I guess, when it comes to mistakes, right? Like in scenarios where it's like a pro and a rec, you're expected to be winning so much versus the rec that it's just like on you.
Want to accommodate as much as possible.
Yeah, it's just like on you to not punish these sort of errors.
They get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
always.
you punish their betting errors. You punish the mechanics within the game.
Right.
But like when they misread their hand, that's not really that's not a punishable offense.
It's like you already can beat him at the game. You don't need to beat him this way.
Right. Yeah. And the final story that I have that I'll tell about this, and it kind of does speak to Guapo's point. I played an all-in pot at the Win when this is way back when I was playing public. It was like 10-20 or something like that. And I'm buried and it's late and I'm exhausted. And I played like a 60 big blind all-in pre where I had pocket sevens and the other player had ace king. And they tabled their hand. And on the first run out, it came like ace or king high with like other Broadway cards, including like a 10, a 9. And then the second board had like everything from, it was like 2, 4, 5, 8, 6 or something along those lines, right? And somehow I didn't recognize. I know what it was. It was a king on the first board and an ace on the second board, but a 7 made it straight on the second board.
Yeah.
And between the two boards, it was impossible to have a pocket pair that didn't beat ace king. Like actually impossible. You couldn't have 2s through kings that didn't win one of the two boards. And then the same thing along the same lines. It was like I think like ace queen was a straight on the first board. So it was like impossible to find a hand that ace king beat that would have played an all-in pot. And I like show a couple of people how unlucky I'm getting, and I muck my hand. And the other player that I was up against was a pro. He's like, "What did you have? Like, did you just like call me with, you know, like queen 9 suited or something?" I go, "No, I had 7s." He's like, "You won the second board. You had a straight." I'm like, "Gee, like that's so brutal." And like he believes that I have 7s. He knows that I have 7s.
Right.
There was no discussion of, am I going to get half this pot back? Like he had absolutely no remorse for me whatsoever.
Not, right.
It's just going to be max punished. My hand is in the muck. I fucked up, and like it was like, okay, like I'm just gonna leave now. Like that's the end of this.
Were you okay with his response?
I mean, at the time, obviously, I was very tired and emotional and buried, and like I wanted half of the pot back because, you know, I was entitled to it as far as like if I had tabled my hand, but I didn't table my hand. So it's like I have to live and learn. Yeah, I mean, it's on me, right? Like you always have to accept responsibility for your own mistakes.
Yeah.
My argument here with Rob is that like there wasn't really a mistake. You know, he just kind of brain farted and didn't realize that a queen was an out. And internally he mucked his hand. But I think when all things are said and done, you know, he's being overly gracious offering the pot to Ryan.
And I think the big difference there is like when you're playing private versus public, in the private game, you expect it to go both ways, right? Everyone expects it to go both ways.
Yeah.
They know that if you're on this end, you're going to get it back. If you're on that end, then you're going to, you know, give it up. So, but like when you're playing public and you maybe only play with this person a handful of times or maybe never see them again, you don't know if you're going to get that reciprocated to you, so you don't want to get like negatively free rolled.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And one worth mentioning. I actually think that he was just playing into the bit though, where he read Jaffe's tweet and decided like he was gonna take the reins on the wealth redistribution.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Just 50,000 at a time. You know, it's like I'm gonna make Ryan Feldman a little bit richer, and then he's gonna make somebody else a little bit richer, and we're all gonna be better off for
trickle down economics.
That's right. Who is that? JW or GW?
I think it was Reagan.
Reagan? Yeah. Oh wow. R.I.P. God bless. I mean, interesting hand. Probably good for the overall stream. Because otherwise, like
great for the stream, it's got to be. And the fact that it happened between Rob and the game runner,
right?
Like wow, it didn't just happen between two other random people,
right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's all interesting. I haven't really gotten to watch much of the coverage. Otherwise, just streaming poker just doesn't really personally interest me all that much anymore. But the set's fucking beautiful.
It's nice.
They did great job. This is Rob's like passion project, the Onyx Club. So big kudos to him for what they were able to accomplish. The game looks good. I played with most of those guys in Dubai when I was there. Always fun. I imagine they're getting some squid in. which will be a good time had for all.
Yeah.
But
real quick, I don't know if you saw that tweet, but because you were talking about Ryan playing in the game.
Yeah.
Doug tweeted the other day if he thought it was
That
uncouth.
That was such nonsense.
Yeah. Well, a third of the people said not to play.
People are just dumb. Like, here's the crazy thing to me is that Doug's response to the whole thing was like, okay, well, then I just won't play tournaments anymore because you guys think it's a bad idea. It's the exact opposite. Like, if ever there's a question.
What is the tweet?
The question was like, do you think it's unethical for the card club owner to play in cash games and tournaments that are run at his club?
Mm-hmm.
And a third of the people thought it was not okay.
Right. And his response was like, okay, fine. I just won't play tournaments anymore and I'll stick to playing cash games at my own club. But it's literally the exact opposite. Like, there's really no edge that could potentially be gained by him playing MTTs in his own club. If anything, he's an influencer, the way that he brings in, Mimi and Brad Owen and a bunch of others to like promote the club. He's doing the same thing by play. I get buy-ins covered all year long to go play events, right? Like, that's just a thing. And it's smart for him to be playing tournaments in his own club. Like, anybody who takes issue with that is absolutely crazy. They're just salty that he final tabled. However, him playing high-stakes stream cash games in his own club, there might be a debate there, right? Like, we've seen enough shitty things happening. Like, I think it's crazy that Feldman plays in his own fucking games after everything that's happened at Hustler. It's just wild and maddening to me. It's like, what the hell is going on? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But along those same lines, I don't think personally...
Nick's not there to represent now, so somebody has to.
Somebody's got to jump in. With all that being said, I personally... the stream is compromised guy, still don't think it's a big deal if the club owner is playing in games. I think it could be a big deal. Let me rephrase. I think it could be a big deal. I think the integrity and the reputation of said owner is really what it distills down to, because there's plenty of ways to corrupt the system that is streamed poker. So a guy like Maury, for example, literally never plays on his own stream outside of like, I think he plays some of the big mixed events at the it's either the Poker Go Cup or the Masters. Yeah, something like that. But very, very, very rarely does he play on his own stream. And that's just smart. It's just good business to have layers of security between you and the product that you're putting out, checks and balances being in place, and ensuring that the entire system is functioning outside of you, the individual who could play God, right? But like, I also get it. Like, the Lodge is a startup club. It's not Poker Go. They're trying to get a product out to the masses. Doug is going to be the one building these high stake games. He's going to be the one who drives the action. He has no reason to cheat the game. There's never been a question of his integrity or the game's integrity or anything along those lines. So it's like, is it a bad look? Probably not. But when you have a big scandal under your belt, yeah, it's probably a bad look for HCL. It doesn't sit all that well when the owners are fucking pulling up a chair, knowing that they have God mode turned on in the back, which I think more recently HCL has moved away from the Poker GFX, which you could have God mode on. I think they've transitioned into our friend Manet's company. I believe it's Poker RF. Thank you. RF Poker. Yeah.
They're working on some really cool stuff right now.
They do have some cool stuff. Yeah. Anybody who is interested, you should check that out. But basically their table's like data mine.
It's pretty cool.
Right. So their table's basically like data mine, and everything gets fed back through an app, which each individual...
And they got graphs and like VPIPs and aggression factors. Like it's a cool setup.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll change streaming poker a little bit as we know it. But yeah, the bigger point, I know that a bunch of people had asked us to talk about that. I kind of blew it off because I don't think it's much ado about nothing. I truly don't think it's a big deal. But apparently a third of the audience does think it's a big deal, which is weird to me. Very, very weird to me. Do people care that Shulman plays the Poker Go stuff while commentating it? I mean, maybe I'm reaching a bit here.
I think being an operator and being a commentator, two different words.
Yeah, fine. But like, you know, how much is Doug doing the day-to-day operations?
Okay, that's a fair point.
You know, it's like he's just the face of the club. He's monetarily invested.
Right.
I don't think anyone gave a shit when Johnny Chan came to their fucking cash table at Legends or whatever his fucking room was, you know? Actually, I cared because he's a goddamn nit. But that's the only reason I cared. All right, let's get into the muck and then get out of here.
Johnny fucking Chan. Okay, we got another user submission. This comes from CG Poker, and this is an online game. I believe they're playing 3-6, but the replayer is going to show it in big blinds. So they are about 100 effective. Under the gun opens the 2.2 blinds. We go ahead and make it 12.
Do we know?
Yes, in the big blind. With the ace jack of what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, with the ace jack of clubs.
I know. I just got that too.
I was like, what? Why can't we say we?
Muser.
We is so easy to say.
Fuck you.
I know.
Go ahead.
All right. So we get a flop of king of spades, queen of spades, jack of diamonds. We decide to check, and then we face 9 blinds, and then we decide to check raise to 24. We are met with a call. The turn is the 7 of clubs, and now we lead 16 blinds, and we are met with a call, and the river is the 5 of hearts, and now we decide to check, and we are faced with an all-in, and we have about half pot left, and we go ahead and call.
And lose, I bet.
And we lose. We do lose. I think we lose. Yeah.
Oh, you said we won.
Oh, no, we won. We did win.
Okay.
Look at that. We won.
Interesting.
Oh, they had 10s. That's right. Sorry. I looked at this hand 2 days ago, so apologies. But yeah, they had pocket 10s.
Okay.
2 black 10s, I believe.
Yep.
So.
2 black 10s. Interesting.
2 black 10s.
Okay. Let's pick it up from the top. This would be nice to have Landon here to analyze because these streets are a little bit.
The lines here are weird, right?
Yeah, 2 black 10s.
Yeah. I haven't looked through this one yet. My instincts are that Ace Jack is probably a fine candidate to check raise some of the time. I would assume we would probably prefer to have Ace Jack of spades when doing so.
Back door, front door as well.
Yeah, but unblocking like nut flush draws here is good. So there is that element to it. It's the Broadway board that makes this such a complicated spot, I think. I think that it's unclear to me what our targets are or what our objective is when we choose to check raise here. It's so mergy between like value and bluff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that our bluff range is going to be a lot weaker. I just imagine, honestly, if I had to guess, I would just imagine we don't play a lot of check raise here because we have such a heavy c-bet strategy.
If you had ace jack of spades.
Sure, but it's just that hand probably just check calls so comfortably, and I think that we just have the issue is that I'm running into is that or not that I'm running into, but like the issue that I have with analyzing these types of hands is that we're deviating so much already by checking and then doing something other than calling.
Right.
Like we're just going to have such a robust betting strategy on this board. It's a lot easier to analyze what happens when we start with bet. Right. So now, whenever we're looking at the lens of, what happens when we start with check, and then we face, 40% pot?
Like you're going down a whole different path of the tree that isn't supposed to exist.
Yeah, we're getting down a rabbit hole now where it's just like I don't think we play raises here. I just really don't because I don't think we can check enough hands that want to build out a check rate. Like
I don't know what raising accomplishes.
Value. So you get a lot of value by playing check raise with your good hands, but how do we build our bluffs?
Yeah.
This is my biggest challenge, right? It's very easy to see how we're building out our bluffing strategy through a bet. It's very easy to see how we could potentially have delayed bluffs in a check call line. I just cannot for the life of me figure out what candidates I'm using as my bluff range when I choose check raise here because instinctually, it's going to be our worst pocket pairs, right?
And what pocket pairs are 3-betting from this formation?
Because
he's opening from he's opening from low jack or sorry, under the, you see what I'm saying? Like,
but like, yeah, I mean, the thing is that you're gonna have a little bit of a lot of them, if that makes sense. So like 5s plus, you should have like 5% plus frequency.
Wow. Okay.
But you just don't have all that many of them. Right. So they also just serve your betting range really well because sometimes they'll double, sometimes they'll give up, whatever. Point that I'm getting at is once we check and face bet, those small pairs don't function very well now as bluffs. Now you want like 9x, 10x, ace x. So you want to take like ace x of diamonds, I guess, and fit that into your bluffing range. You want to take like, I don't even know, do we have 10-8? I mean, maybe a little bit of 10-8 we have here.
This
very
was
unlikely.
online,
It's
or
very
is live?
mergy.
It was online, so like I think the
I
pre-flop
think
rate.
even online, like 10-8 is super ambitious.
Yeah,
I think you have it some.
I think you have it some, but
But
you're
just,
supposed
again,
to have it some.
Yeah, but again, you're just so much better. Imposition doesn't need to reopen here. When you check, he does not need to stab.
Right.
He should be facing bet at such a high
He's
frequency.
probably happy to check back a lot of his
So
range.
many hands.
Right.
And like 10s, I understand why he started off with a bet because it's like, well, we blocked nuts, so we're not getting check raised here.
Mm-hmm.
That range is probably pretty capped, and I can just triple this one off.
Right.
But once you... Now 10s becomes like really fucking weird. We can analyze this from Seat 4's perspective too. It becomes really fucking weird because now when you get check raises, it's like, yo, what's going on here? I have 2 10s. What the fuck does he got?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I might just like call, fold. I don't really care. I understand why 10s bluffs river, and when we get to that node, I could see it being your lone bluff because it's really hard to have worse at that point. I mean, I guess you'll have like some ace x of spades, but they're probably not going to want to bluff all that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would just be like, I would probably just have no bluffs when check 2 on the end because it feels like we're just not getting folds. And to the point of check calling then with ace jack on the end, what are you folding? Like, there's no way we have check folds.
Right.
You're just purely check calling, which means that like he definitely should not jam 10s.
No.
So yeah, let's take a look at this one, analyze it from the wizard. To me, the whole line just feels way too mergy. I think we just start off betting, and yeah, it does look like Wiz agrees here. So giving 2 sizes, it just wants to pretty much, I mean, it's basically a range bet. Like the little bit of king 6 we have just starts to check. You can see that these pocket pairs are all in here at some low frequency, as mentioned. Some of these suited 1-gappers also very low frequency. Don't know if Chris is hitting these or not. Also really surprised that Ace King calls so much pre. So Ace King off only 3-bets like a quarter of the time, maybe a little bit less, like 15% of the time.
Yeah, it's because of the formation, right?
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I imagine you just want to protect your calling range at some frequency. But like the real thing that is driving this strategy, as you can see, is the highest frequency 3-bets all are like top pair, top kicker plus. So like you have ace, king, aces. Those are heavily incentivized to bet. Ace, queen, less incentivized to bet. Same with ace, jack. These want to be mixing checks a lot. Ace 10 flops the nuts. You have king, queen for 2 pair. King, jack suited for 2 pair. Kings, queens, jacks, all for sets. Like you're just so full of robust equity. And you can see this whenever when we pop out the equity graph here. I don't know. There we go. You can see that big blind is just dominating pretty much every step of the way when it comes to the equity. Now, there will be spots where under the gun is somewhat protected because they're going to trap aces a little bit. They're going to have a little bit of kings and queens in their range as well. They're going to flop the nuts and have 10-9 suited.
They should have ace 10 in full, right?
Only suited, I think.
Or that's what I meant, sorry.
Yeah, I think if we look at the actual range breakdown, he has nearly full ace 10 suited, but he has none of the off. And one of the other things that works against Chris in this particular instance is that he has none of the offsuit ace queen or ace jack. So you don't have that like weak target that could potentially reopen for protection / value and then give up. They only have the suited variety of those. And I imagine when we look at what happens when we check, those hands probably don't bet all that often. So really what happens when we check and then choose to raise is we should just be folding out dominating hands that we dominate. So like I imagine like ace 9 of diamonds will stab, but you don't want that hand to fold then to your raise, right? Like you just have that hand utterly in the bin.
Crushed.
It's drawing to a chop or a running diamond, running 9-9, right? Like you just have it in the absolute bin. So you don't really want to fold these types of hands out. The wheel aces, same thing. And again, I just like really struggle to see where we're gonna pull our where we're actually gonna pull our bluffs from in this particular instance. But let's take a look and see how it actually plays out when we do go the check raise route. So a quarter of your range does check. You can see the ace jack suited is mixing 50-50, where ace jack of clubs is a high frequency check. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Because there's no backdoor?
Yeah, you have no backdoor. You can see ace jack of spades just wants the money now. It's way too high up in the equity class to just like not start funneling money in. And this texture is really good for out of position. That's why you see the B25, like just very dominating equity. You can see that the EV advantage here is actually, oh no, sorry, not actually. It's heavily in favor of the out of position range, 13-10. The equity also, I mean, this equity distribution is very telling, right? 57-43. That's very significant. Even the equity realization is favoring out of position. So that just demonstrates like how favorable it is to have a betting strategy here as opposed to getting cute and having a check raise strategy of some sort. I think we're just like not prioritizing the right things, and we just happen to fall in that middle to that like upper middle to middle portion of range where it feels uncomfortable to play bluff catch with these types of hands, because ultimately I would guess the way this is supposed to play out in theory is we check call, check fold, and tens bluff. The tens bluff actually works. And we can like run that really quickly, right? So like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when it goes check. Okay, so now you can see the reopening. They have two sizes. He ended up going with B40, so let's assume he has one size here. Condense that down, but you can see it's not all that frequent. Probably like 25% of the time, 30% of the time he reopens here, right? So you can see the tens, particularly spade diamond combo, really goes hard. We don't know what combo. Oh, you said black tens, right?
Black tens, yeah.
Yeah, so spade club, a lot less. You want to have the super suit basically to reopen.
But having the ten of spades is what's...
Having the 10 of spades is nice. It's a driving factor here for sure. So you're going to see like B40, ace jack, yeah, pure call, right? So this is, up until this node, we've followed the line of what happened, right? And you can see that there's just no raising that takes place here. So my instincts were pretty good in that regard. Can we see if
he goes for it with the tens?
Yeah, I'm going to follow the theoretical line first, and then we'll come back to this node and re-examine like where Chris maybe went awry. But yeah, you can see all the hands I was kind of suggesting that may function pretty well as bluffs, just fold. Mm-hmm. And they have to, obviously, like the suited connectors that aren't spades, even the diamond variety, you can see just like pure fold. So when we start to play check raise, I imagine we have to like start fitting in 5-4 of diamonds somehow, or maybe these small pairs at some frequency, like nines, kind of in the mix when it has a spade, because it does still have a gut shot, so it can suck out against 2 pair. It can hit a 9 that may or may not be clean, that type of stuff. It can hit running spades, again sucking out against like 2 pair, since there shouldn't be any offsuit hands really in impositions range, except for maybe ace king off. Exactly. Everything else should be only the suited variety. So the 9 of spades is actually quite powerful in being able to make a 1-card flush. So if we were to play call as suggested, turn was
7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. I don't suppose we might have leads because we missed a bet on the flop. No. Okay, so no leads. Our range is actually quite condensed now and probably pretty capped. For the most part, we do retain some kings and queens.
Yeah, you're right. There's tens.
Yeah, so now tens is just going to go, right? And ironically, it's not the super suit that goes because you have that in full combos. It's the one that you have in low combos because you don't have them that frequently. So since they're relatively infrequent, they just have no other destination but to bluff it off. The super suit ones will be, I assume, Turner River dependent. Reason being is now you don't have the backdoor diamonds to target. So you no longer can like bet jam and expect a hand like 10-8 of diamonds to call fold, right? That hand just doesn't really exist. So only B67, which I believe the turns, well, we saw it through a different lens because he check raised. So we'll just analyze this. Now you can see that Chris actually does start to get to play some check raise, and it's not coming from that area, right? Ace Jack's actually just a pure fold now. And I kind of insinuated this. I was like, well, tens' bluff is just going to work. That's why it feels very uncomfortable playing Ace Jack the way it's supposed to be played, which is check call, check fold,
right?
Unimproved, right? So
it looks like his only like zero equity bluff is Ace 5.
It's spades. It's not even zero equity.
Yeah.
There's no, because you have the option to just call, right? Like you're not going to run like a weird Ace 3 of diamond bluff here. You know, it's only going to be the spade variety. I'm not sure what about the 5 unlocks the desire to jam. But even Ace King is indifferent here. Ace Queen, pure fold. Ace Jack of spades is the only continue from that realm. So like even Ace Queen of diamonds, pure fold.
So his check raises are just value.
On turn?
Yeah.
Value, I mean, having spades on turn, you're only going to be like 20% when called. A little bit more because you have a gut shot.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
So it's not.
I'm just looking at anything that has red, like it's 2 pairs.
Yeah,
sets.
yeah, but like this is a bluff.
Yeah.
Right, like you're bluffing.
But you have equity, right?
Well, yeah, but bluffs have equity.
No, I get
With
it.
one to come, bluffs will always have equity. It's on river that you have 0 equity when you jam as a bluff.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, if you look at it from the equity buckets, you can see that the 25 to 50% equity bucket that jams, that is going to be specifically here. So it's, whoops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, now we're in. So yeah, that's the Ace 5 of spades. That's the Queen 10s. Even King Jack is going to be on the higher end there. It's going to be closer to 50%. Whereas Ace 5 is on the much lower end. I guess I can change this from EV to equity. There we go. So yeah, Ace 5 is 29% equity, whereas like King Queen is 49%, Queen 10 44%, Queen Jack 45. But like, you know, you need to be able to meet these equity thresholds on the turn. Otherwise, you're investing too much money with weak hands. You can see that everything that's below 25% equity is just a fold. And even in this particular bucket of 25 to 50, hands like 9s that are 27% are just folding. Hands like 8-7 of spades, this is like the bottom of what we're willing to continue with. I guess Ace 3 of spades is the bottom. 28.6% that we're calling. That's the worst call that we have. Ace 5 of spades is the worst jam that we have. But yeah, you need to have like roughly 30% equity to get any more money involved here. So we don't really need to go any further, obviously, but we can just really quickly to see how rivers play out. River is
5 of hearts.
5 of hearts. And what we're going to see is now we're going to need at least Ace King plus to call. Actually, Ace King might just start folding. So it might just be 2 pair plus that calls. Again, we play no leads. We're going to face jam here for half pot. So I imagine it's going to be, somehow he only has Ace King.
That's all he's got left.
That's interesting.
Wait.
How's that possible?
Where'd the tens go?
No, because I have it locked. There we go. Yeah, so interesting enough, tens is not
He
the
gives
bluff.
up, yeah.
It's the 9 high that makes it this far. And I guess 7s is a set. So yeah, it's like the small pairs that unblock. That makes sense. You want to unblock the 10x that got here to call fold. So I assume that that's going to be targeting. Let's see. That's going to target. Do we have any 10x? No.
10-8. No.
Oh, the Queen 10.
10-9's a straight.
It's the Queen 10, Jack 10. That's what you're targeting. These are the hands that you're trying to get the fold here for the jam.
Yeah.
So the Ace Jack of spades that makes it this far, pure fold. Ace King, aces, you can see these mix. You basically need 2 pair plus. Queen Jack is the bottom of our pure call. You can actually see that 10s calls at a really high frequency if it gets that far. So, you know, in this case, Chris plays Ace Jack sort of the way that he could have played 10s, except Ace Jack has far less equity than 2 10s does. So yeah, I mean, analyzing it from Seat 4's perspective, I think his line probably not ideal. He probably should just have like bad spades to choose from here that rifle it off, or I don't think he's going to be able to play any small pairs this way because he's just going to bet fold them on the flop. So yeah, maybe 10s ultimately will get their way in there. Let's do a little bit of node locking really quickly. I mean, to see just like how we would even construct a check raising range. So if we set the strategy here for, what did he raise? What was the size?
On the
flop, it goes check.
On the flop,
9. So he goes 24
he bets
blinds.
9. He raises to 24.
Okay, so that's 34% here. Let's say that he takes a quarter of the range and just raises. And we'll just give him a little bit of everything. Sets, 2 pairs, over pairs, top pair, second pair, third pair, low pair, combo draws, flush draws, gut shots. There we go. And then let's say backdoor 2 cards. Let's say he plays raise fold with that. There we go. All right, cool. All right, we'll lock this. His strategy is going to go way down in EV, obviously. It's not going to be a heavily incentivized line, but let's see how this ultimately plays out, what the reaction is here. Okay, so B40, we see the raise to 24. Now, 10s is actually just bluffing now. Just all in a lot. But the specific combo that he had to black 10s, that's going to play call. So we are going to get to the turn. What ends up happening here is the SPR gets like really wonky, right? So we get to the turn now and the SPR is 1. So Chris turning this into a 3-street game now on a stone brick is very weird, right? Like he chose 2E on the turn. It's generally just going to follow through now, I imagine, with jams. I don't think that this is going to become a blocking spot. Maybe some. No, 0 blocks. Yeah, I mean, we just butch this at every node. There's just like no way to make this a thing, right? Like I could force it to only play quarter here on the turn. It's just going to hate that. Obviously, it's probably just going to start choosing check at a really high frequency. I mean, it already chooses check at a really high frequency. Yeah, it still only bets 15% of the time. Okay, quarter, we go call again. Again, now 2 10s. The exact combo we had, whatever, it plays call. River was 5?
5 of hearts, yep.
5 of hearts, okay. And now ace jack that gets there, like wants to mix jam and check. All right, fine. That's good. We at least have our exact candidate. Check. 10s does want to rifle it off.
Yep.
So he did fall into a good bluff, all in for 44%. And now ace jack becomes a mix. Oh, okay, fine. You backed your way into like not absolutely torching it.
Sorry, the wizard still says no.
As it should. Yeah, I mean, coincidentally, like ace queen does a lot more folding. I imagine it just comes from like where the bluffs are coming from, but also the fact that we like never have it. But yeah, I mean, this range that gets here this way is like really fucking butchered. So I don't really know how else to look at this one. Dean asked, why does ace king call more than aces? Simple, it blocks more 2-pair plus. Aces frees up a lot of 2-pair that he's losing to. And it has pretty close to the same blocker effect on the straights. So ace king is going to play as a better bluff catcher in that particular instance. But yeah, sorry, Chris. You are in fact in the muck. I hope this helped you get out a little bit. Creative line, props for that.
Yeah.
Points for creativity.
Right.
And I think that it was born out of, if I had to guess, if I had to get in your head, it was just born out of the fact that you kind of arrived at bottom on this particular texture. And once you choose to check, which is good, playing bluff catch feels very uncomfortable, unnatural. But, you know, it's okay. You should have hands that check call and then check fold. Ace jack is one of them. You should also have hands that just check fold. And, you know, some of your small pairs and suited connectors that just totally whiff that are like clubs and hearts will just do that. So, yeah, just bear that in mind. Be range aware and, you know, do your thing. Gonna wrap on Weekend Warrior. Almost forgot about it.
No.
We have updated scorecards here, I believe. Let's get that.
Can you first give me a it's time?
It's time.
Let's go!
I missed the let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Conrad lost that clip. But We have updated scoreboard here. I believe I'm in second now after Connie's bath last week. Just by $150.
Oh, yeah.
Platt pulling up third, 2,000. Guapo just slow and steady, baby. He's the true tortoise of this. 1464. LeMay's been swinging.
I gotta tell you,
he's been swinging. He's been tailing me a little bit. It's not been going well.
Don't look good, cuz.
Don't look good. Turtle's in last. Oh my god.
Why does it say turtle?
He's the tortoise. God damn it.
Get it right. Hanks, why? So you say that's the tortoise. I'm fucking rising up the ranks, baby.
Hanks has made the comeback of the century. He was down to his last 200.
He was all in.
Thing right now.
Hanks was all in.
Hanks' terrible teasers have found a way to work themselves out. He's above 1K again. Tantalizing my dick. We're gonna run through the picks really quickly. Tortoise lead us off.
So listen, my Steelers, baby, they've been fucking me over real bad. So we've moved away from the Steelers this week. You know, we're just gonna go with touchdowns. I don't care about over unders or yardage or all this other bullshit. Win the game, touchdowns.
God, you're drawing dead.
I know. So we got a 4-team parlay. We got with anytime touchdowns. Travis Kelce, I mean, primetime game, national game. Taylor's probably going to be in the building. He's going to show out. So Travis is getting a touchdown. Jalen Reed, Jordan Love's number one receiver. Number one. So
Bro, you're
you're what? I'm what?
What is this, 50 to win 2,000?
Yeah, don't you worry about it. I know exactly what I'm doing, okay? So Jalen Reed, right?
Yeah.
He's the favorite target of Jordan Love. He's going to get a touchdown. We got CeeDee Lamb, who's getting 15 targets a game. He's gonna find the end zone. And then we got Jahmyr Gibbs with a banged up Montgomery. He already gets in the end zone every week.
Hey, yeah.
Might as well have another one.
1,900 to 1. Hey,
I think it's a lock.
It's crazy.
It's absolute lock.
This seems so much more impossible than the 60 to 1 that
Why does that seem impossible? These guys all score touchdowns every week, except for Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, I don't even know if he has.
He's gonna score one this.
Has he scored all this season? Once?
He's due.
Sure. I almost picked Freiermuth to score because I thought he was due, and I moved off of it.
You're smart.
I'm drawing dead this week. I admit that already, but it was just too attractive not to take. I have the Steelers on the money line, and if I was a smart man, I would have just fucking piled in on that. They're guaranteed. They're getting 3.5 on the road. I believe they were almost 2 to 1 on the money line. And I should have just taken, but I'm greedy. I'm so fucking greedy. I'm so greedy. I want the 12 to 1 shot of Mike Williams scoring a touchdown. He looks so fucking good week 1. He's been in the offense now for 3 weeks. I think he learned the playbook. They're going to find that fade route in the goddamn red zone. We're going to do what we need to do. The moon ball's coming to fucking orbit.
I just saw that 250 to win 3K.
That's right. You're never catching up, Guapo.
You're going for the jugular.
You're never catching up. If I win this, it's
no mas.
Just put up the Vince Carter meme.
Okay.
All right. What are we going to you next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
why not?
let's
So
go.
apparently nobody likes to fight during Turkey weekend.
Sure.
So I'm going with football, and we all know how well I do at football bets.
$55 to win 10.
So I'm taking the Detroit Lions to win $10. Shout out to Corey. I need your boys to come through. Keep me in the mix.
Brother, how are you going to win this fucking thing?
You do your thing, I'll do mine.
Bro, it's just inching along fucking $20
it's the
at a
equivalent
time.
of limping kings. All right, I know what I'm doing here.
You scumbag. All right, who do we got up next?
Let's do Matthew Hunt.
Okay, Matt Hunt. He's coming in with another European parlay, it looks like. No, this is just a single match. So he's risking 100 to win 92.50. Nottingham Forest. I truly thought that had to be made up from Robin Hood. I didn't know that was a real place, man. I got to tell you. This
can't be real.
You fucking Brits never cease to amaze me. This is incredible. Over 2.5 goals in the Premier League. It looks like they're playing Eyepiece Sandwich Town.
Yep.
I don't know.
Looks like he's going to be stealing from the poor and giving to the rich.
There you go.
You know what?
Let's redistribution of wealth, if you will.
Let's see if you
Keep
can just
it with
guess
the theme.
everyone's picks. This is the next one up.
Okay. We got the Portland Trails, but this is Conrad.
Has to
for
be.
sure. Money line 500. They're getting 4 to 1 on the money line. How big of a fucking dog are they? God, he just doesn't want to win either. I think Guapo's going to pass Conrad within the next 3 weeks. This is Connie.
This is Connie.
Yeah, for sure. I think Conrad is going to get himself down to 1,400 as Guapo surpasses the 1,485 mark.
Sounds about right.
So 6 weeks from now, maybe, I guess. Here we have an under 37.5.
That's easy.
This has to be Landon.
Yep.
This is the laziest fucking pick of all time. So you got the Giants at the Cowboys. This was supposed to be our Thanksgiving pick for Survivor. We're going to play the game, by the way, of what if we weren't eliminated?
Right. Oh, for sure.
What if we weren't
100%.
eliminated? So we would have went Dallas this week.
Yep.
Almost certainly as a 4-point favorite. I didn't check the EVs of it, but like let's just assume we went Dallas and see
how
it
often do we
plays out.
how long do we keep this up? Like if we just keep dying every week.
Oh, if we die twice, it's fucking over.
Okay.
Like the bit
All right.
is dead.
All right, so we'll pretend that we made it through.
All right, we got
mulligan. We get.
We got a tantalizing teaser here
you already
from one Brent Hanks. This is Packers.
It's not a teaser.
No, just a parlay.
It's a parlay.
Oh, he's drawing dead then.
Yeah.
I mean, the teasers were the pick
Right.
the click.
That's his
he
thing.
doing?
I don't know.
Fuck him. He picked the Bengals.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he got him at a good line.
Yeah, he
2.5.
did. I noticed that. I was
Yeah,
like, maybe
it
he
moved
should
to
take
3.
He should probably take him at that line.
Now,
Yeah.
if he wins this, I think he shoots up to like 3rd place.
Wow.
Barring that nobody wins up top. Anyway.
Okay, so he has a 3-team teaser. He has the Bucks -5.5, Bengals -2.5, and Packers -3. I gotta tell you, I wasn't very comfortable with the Packers for our Survivor pick. So him throwing him into a parlay, God fucking speed, man. We'll see how that works out. The Finns might be rising. And then finally, we got Jeff Platt, Air Force -3.5. Very simple one here. Got him at -10. He's risking 440 to win 840. He needs it. He's cooled off.
Yep. Hey,
to say the least.
fun fact: if Guapo and I both win this week,
Yeah.
I'll be ahead of him.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. We're here to gamble fake
A lot of
money.
ifs. A lot of ifs.
We're here to gamble
Ifs
fake
and
money.
buts.
Guapo's still betting 1 unit a week, so Godspeed.
So am
Just
I, but they're like 20-1 shots.
chugging along. Don't forget that we are running our Black Friday sale. If you want 3 months of Solve4Y for the price of 2, head over to solve4y.io. Sign up using code Friday24. That'll get you the discount that you're looking for.
Good till Monday. Get in there.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you all have a happy holiday and a fun Thanksgiving for everybody out there playing in the Turkey Bowl.
Absolutely.
Godspeed. Don't tear any ACLs, and make sure you do a little celebration in the end zone for me. We'll see you guys all starting Monday.
Peace.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.